Hey ladies, it's Kim Bukta here with the third video, and in this one we're going to talk about diet. This is a very tricky subject to talk about because obviously we all want a quick fix. We all want the answers of how we can lose weight quickly, and there just is not that answer, which is, I think, a hard pill to swallow. I think there's a lot of fad diets. I feel like women spend a lot of money to have a quick answer to lose weight fast, and I just want to get information out there of what worked for me and just kind of the general trends I am reading about and researching about that seem to be good principles for everyone to incorporate in their life to help with healthy eating and hopefully with weight loss. So first off, this is not medical advice. This is just me telling you what worked for me and kind of what I found out there, and I hope it helps. So first thing, calories. Unfortunately, people saying that calories don't count is kind of a false statement. What we take in for calories does count if we want to maintain or lose weight. So it is kind of an important factor in our diet plans. The next thing is protein. I know we've all heard about protein. Everybody's talking about protein and the importance of protein. It is something that we all need to do is get more protein in our diets. And again, protein is very important because it's important in muscle health, and the data and research is coming out on how important muscle health is for longevity and just healthy living as we get older. We all want strong muscles to be able to, take care of ourselves, live independently longer, and not end up in nursing homes. And muscle is an important part of that. And in order to have strong muscles, we need to feed those muscles, and protein and exercise are the two main things to do it. So today, protein, we're talking about with the diet plan. Now, protein recommendations are 1 gram of protein per ideal body weight per day. And I know that seems like a lot, but it can actually be more of a range. So what I'm reviewing and what I'm hearing, we obviously want to aim for that 1 gram, but they're saying that 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per ideal body weight per day will maintain and build muscle. So you have more of a range to work on, which I feel like seemed less daunting for me as I started this journey to get the adequate protein. So for me, I am right now 140 pounds. My ideal body weight, I'd like to get 135. So my protein range is from 100 grams of protein per day to 135 grams of protein per day, which again still seems like a lot when you're just talking to people and everybody's like, there's no way I can do this. But it's actually not as hard as you think. So for my diet, what I do, the first thing I did to get this going was to dial in my protein. So breakfast, I added a protein shake, and this was whey protein shake. And there's good data that whey protein is a healthy source of protein. It has all your amino acids. So it's a good way to get an extra like 30 grams of protein to start my day. So again, you just want to look for ones that have low sugar. So I do my whey protein shake in the morning before I work out. Then after I work out, I have breakfast, which is typically an egg sandwich on a sprouted grain bread with, maybe like a sharp cheddar cheese. And right there, I get to my 40 grams of protein to start my day. And again, the research is showing that you want at least 30 grams of protein, if not closer to 40 grams of protein for that first meal of the day to kind of kickstart this muscle metabolism. And again, this is, what we want to build muscle and maintain muscle. So that first meal is kind of the most important one to get a big hit of protein, but I need that protein shake to help me with that. So that gets me my 40 grams to start my day. Then, mid to late morning, I usually have a cup of cottage cheese with pistachios added on top, and I also put the all bagel seasoning on it just to add a little extra flavor. And that again is another 30 grams of protein right there. Again, that kind of counts towards my lunch, maybe mid-morning snack meal. For lunch, I get a little bit extra protein by eating a string cheese, and I usually have, some sort of soup, which will get me another, 10, 15 grams, which again is another 40 grams then with the cottage cheese and that at about my lunch to mid-time snack. And then for dinner, I aim for another 30 grams of protein, and typically it's, chicken, fish, lean red meat, eggs. So we try to go for another 30 grams of protein at bedtime, and just right with what I just told you, that is over 100 grams of protein per day. So not as hard as it seems like it would be with just, kind of adding some of these things in. Some of the other protein sources I use, sometimes if I'm sick of eating cottage cheese, I'll do my Greek yogurt, and, I add a homemade granola on top of that with, flaxseed, chia seeds, and then fruits and berries with that. So just some other ways that you can add some protein into your diet. Also, vegetables have protein in them. So when I'm adding my vegetables in throughout the day, I get closer to that 100 to actually 135 grams of protein every day. So I dialed my protein in. That was kind of my first step. Second is fiber. We all need to be getting around 25 grams of fiber per day. And then why is fiber important? Number one, fiber can slow your absorption rate, so it just makes you feel fuller faster. So it slows things down, which can help with weight loss. It feeds your gut microbiome, which is really important. You know, there's a lot of data coming out on how important your gut microbiome is for longevity. And then it also helps prevent those glucose spikes. So it can help lower your insulin sensitivity, which again is a problem for women as we're hitting this kind of perimenopause, menopause time. So fiber is really important. So first our protein, next we kind of get the fiber going. And again, we're going to get that 25 grams of fiber we want to add into the diet. So how I did that is I added fruits and vegetables throughout my diet. So I do a serving of fruit with my breakfast, then I add fruits and vegetables at lunch or for like snacks throughout the day, and then I do a fruit and vegetable at dinner time. Now, unfortunately, there's really only about 3 grams of fiber, sometimes 4, in your fruits and vegetable serving, so it's pretty hard to get to that 25 grams of fiber in your daily diet. So I do a lot of times, and I'm sure most people have to add supplements to this. Now, you can get fiber supplements. My choice was to go with inulin, and that's spelled INULIN. And I had done some data and research on this because it is a prebiotic. It has 4 grams of fiber, and basically it just is from guava extract fruit. And it is one of those fibers that actually is really great at feeding your good gut microbiome. And there's been some research that it feeds about 80% of your good gut microbiome. So I thought this was a great way to add some extra fiber into my diet and also help feed my gut microbiome. So it was kind of a win-win. I do a teaspoon of that in my coffee in the morning, and that usually helps get me to that 25 grams of fiber throughout my day. So we got my protein, then we got the fiber. Now the next step is the most painful step because it is the calorie counting. And I know I hate calorie counting, and I'm sure everyone else hates calorie counting. It's just a very painful process, and I don't know why. No one likes to do it. But unfortunately, we have to do it because we are all so different on, what we eat, what we burn throughout the day, our activity level. So to find out your, ideal calorie count through the day, you have to count your calories to see where you're at with things. So once I got my protein and my fiber dialed in, then I started calorie counting every day. And you got to be exact with this because I was at first I was trying my best I could, but I would miss a couple things here and there, but that ends up being actually like 200-300 calories that you're missing just by these little things throughout your day. So it's really important to track everything so that you know how many calories you're getting throughout the day. And I just did it the old school way. I wrote it on paper. I looked up my, numbers online, but I just feel like it helps me remember more. And then it just helps you get a better understanding of like what you're eating throughout the day, which is, again, you only need to do this calorie counting for 3 weeks. So it's important to kind of do your research so you kind of can get comfortable with knowing, what these foods have for calories and protein and fiber. So like I said, you can just count the calories and do all this for 3 weeks and then be done with it and just kind of know what you're getting and doing out there. So I was very good at counting my calories for 3 weeks. And as I did this, I weighed myself every day. This way I could see, was I gaining weight? Was I losing weight? Was I maintaining weight? So that way I could see, what days I maintained weight, what would be my actual, ideal calorie count through the day for like a maintenance phase of things. So I feel like 3 weeks of doing this, I got a good idea, like, okay, this is my maintenance calorie count throughout the day. Now, as everyone else, I gained 9 pounds of weight in this perimenopause transition. So of course I want to lose weight. So what I did was I figured I would do a 10% reduction because, again, I wanted to make it easy. I didn't want to like starve myself and make this super difficult. So 10% is not that hard for me. It was only like 200 to 250 calories a day. So again, it's just cutting back a little bit, and how I figured the easiest way to do this was to cut back my dinner time meal. So instead of, doing 2 helpings, which I often would do, I just cut back to 1 helping. I also made sure I was doing more meat and vegetables at dinner and less of fruits or, breads or carbs and things like that at dinner. By doing this, it has helped be able to lose this 9 pounds. So again, I'm down to 140 pounds. I still would like to lose another 5, but I'm on my way. The other thing is kind of the timing. You hear about, fasting. Again, I think fasting is kind of hard to do to get this much protein in your diet as we get older. I feel like it's just hard to eat that much protein throughout the day in a short period of time. So I feel like fasting is hard, but a lot of the research I'm hearing is just this circadian eating, which means you eat when you get up in the morning and then you stop eating at dinner. So, I eat breakfast, and I get up usually around 5. I have my protein shake. I eat around like 5:30 or 6, and then I try to eat dinner at 5 or 6 at night, and then not eat after that. So again, I think it's important to try to get that dinner time meal, and then you stop eating for 2 to 3 hours after that. That also helps with, I think, the weight loss. I was realizing I was actually snacking a little bit more than I thought after dinner, and I think that also helped lose weight by doing that. It also gives your gut rest. I think even though the benefits of fasting, what they say is you want some gut rest overnight, but by stopping dinner 2 to 3 hours beforehand, you're still getting that good 10 to 12 hours of rest for your gut overnight. So again, ladies, this is just what has worked for me. This is not medical advice. I just wanted to share what has worked, and I'm hoping it can help other people. Again, I want people to realize it's not a quick fix. We have to kind of just look at our diet and lifestyles and realize this is actually a lifestyle change. This isn't just a quick fix for me to lose the weight. I feel so much better with how I'm eating. I have way more energy. I feel healthier. I feel fuller. I'm not thinking about food or craving food as much. This has just been a great change in my eating habits. And I know this is going to help me to maintain my muscle, to, like I said, live healthier, live stronger. And I just wanted to share this info with other women in hopes that it would help. If you like this video, you can hit like or subscribe. I will try to make more videos next on exercise. Hope this helps everyone. Take care.